Good evening, Expert Corner Group. This is Mark, and we are going to strop this practice knife. We just went through the long and arduous process of sharpening this knife to 600 grit and setting the angle and discussing burrs and setting the bevel, forming the apex, being sure, and then refining the edge from 100 where we started all the way to 600. Now we're going to strop it. First thing that we want to do when we strop it, and I am going to follow the recommendations, which is to reset your sharpening angle to 2 degrees more acute to strop. Lower the angle. Set at 18 degrees, lower it by 2 degrees more acute to 16 degrees. The reason for that is because the stropping mediums are compressible. And as my fingers come across the towel and compress it, and you see the shadow, so does the strop coming up across the edge, can roll over the edge and compress and roll over the edge of the knife. So by making it more acute, standing it up more parallel, we are assuring ourselves that we're starting with a little bit of a bias towards the shoulder so that when we lean the medium against the apex, it's not rolling over, it's not pressing on there so hard. We're concentrating the pressure down on the shoulder. So I'm going to set it 2 degrees more acutely. Now, these strops, I don't want to rest my cube on the leather. So for the strops, even though I work with whetstones and I do have a non-magnetic stone adapter that clips onto whetstones to let me put the cube on, an easier way for this situation is to grab a stone, doesn't matter which one. I'm using this one with the glass plate, and I'm going to set it up at the center port where I want to measure my angle, and then on the magnetic side I'm going to use that. Just remember the glass is slippery. That's reading 18.07 degrees. Again, it shows you how close the tolerance is. I grabbed the stone off the rack, threw it on here. We started it, last time I said it was 18 degrees. It says 18.09. The wicked edge stones are very, very close, one to the next to the next. Okay. Now we want to go to 16. So with the gross adjuster, I'm holding my hand here so that this doesn't fall over. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going to come and I'm clicking in the detents. 17.3, 16, 16.05. Now I didn't, the detents, the inscriptions don't correlate to this situation because I am working with a stable riser, and it offsets it to the low angle, shifts about 3 or 3.5 degrees. So right now it says 19 and it's reading 16. So that's 3.5 degrees. Depends upon whether you're in the middle or out at the ends. the difference. Okay, so we're at 16 and then we can dial it in to 16 on the nose just because we can. 16.0, 16.01. So that's one side. And then we'll put the strop on there. No upper stops. We're stropping in a edge trailing, up and off, stropping stroke. Again with this one, I'm going to put the stop up. Now, why do I make such a big deal out of this? Because if I was not to do this way, this attention to detail, then I would have no way of knowing what it takes, first of all, to get better, but to make changes. I'm making little minute changes, so I can't do it haphazardly. Now, in a general sharpening sense, it is not necessary. We just moved it to 16 degrees. I'm checking the second side. It reads 15.95. It's 5/100ths on the other side. It's still very, very close tolerance. But because I have the ability with the wicked edge to dial it in, then I'm going to dial it into 16.0 degrees. 9.8, 9.9. And I do lift my hands away because it's that sensitive. 15.99, 16, 16.01, it's floating now. I went past it. There we go. Okay, so I'm set at 16 degrees. Now, it is recommended at wicked edge to spritz your strops with alcohol. You can if you want to. My understanding from the diamond emulsions that I use, they are a water in water emulsion. They just suspend by shaking the diamonds up, and then you apply them while they're shook and mixed well. You apply them to get the diamonds on the surface. Adding alcohol to it, I don't think will affect it any. It may make the leather stickier. I think the stickiness, the stiction, helps a new user to stropping get the feel for it. So I'm not against it. I just don't do it. Now I'm working with 4-micron strops. I have wiped it with alcohol to start with, and then it's with the stone stops all the way down. I work overlapping short strokes. And I'm walking it forward. I'm overlapping the back side with the front side, and the front side with the back side as I'm walking it up and over. And then we're going to give it a wipe. And I'm going straight up. You don't hear it skipping off the edge because I'm not pushing hard enough into it that's the rod banging against the knife, the point I'm trying to make that. I'm not pushing. This is a skip. Here's a skip. No skips. You can hear a little bit of a wobble, but there's no skip. We're not pushing that hard. That is what contributes to the rolling over of your edge. If you're pushing that hard, that when that heel trails off that tip, you can hear it, then you're pushing that soft, compressible leather medium into that apex and possibly rolling over it. Hence the 2 degree more acute offset recommendation for the new users, new to stropping, until you get the feel for what it takes to strop without rolling over the edge, what the pressure is to have the right feel on the whole height of the bevel with your strop. Find that balance between the angle offset you need and the pressure you need in order to strop the full bevel. Now I'm going to spritz it again with alcohol because I want to remove the stropping compound that comes off of the edge and gets stuck to the shoulder and the bevel and up the apex. So I'm trying to clean it up so we can see the clean steel. And I can see the black line down here that I wanted to show you across the shoulder, where the strop is smoothed that over. As I said at the beginning, there is a edge up here and an edge down there when you're making that bevel flat. So this bevel looks pretty nice. Let me see if I can make it brighter. The raggedness is gone. There's a slight, you can see where the scratches come right to the edge, but you can see how smooth it is. That horizontal is from when I wiped it just now. I don't know if it's still dust on there, but it looks pretty good. And the shoulder is the same, and you can see how that shadow is down here at the shoulder. And let's look at the other side now. Same thing, nice and clean. There's a couple little teeny nicks I see there, and let's look at there's the tip. That was with the 4. Yeah, it's much slipperier. Now then I would, next step is to wipe it again, just because I touched the camera to it. And then I put my covers on, and my covers are labeled for the grit that they are so that I don't cross-contaminate them. And then I work with the covers so that I don't ever touch, so I don't have to wash my hands. When you're working on a mirror polish edge and you're getting down, the 4 micron is sizable. It's medium. The 3.55 or the 2.4, those are medium utility, good for working edge stropping. When you're looking to get more refined, then you have to wash your hands and do all that, because anything that you do can possibly add a contaminant. Okay, so we wiped it, we washed it, the angle is set, we already showed that. We don't need to worry about it. And we're going to do the same thing with the 2. Overlapping, walking forward. Now I'm not a whisper light. I'm putting some pressure on there. Some people say whisper light. I don't know what they correlate. It's like rating pain. They say rate your pain 1 to 10. You know, it's very subjective. So I'm not going to say what it is. I'm telling you that I do apply some pressure. I can feel the pressure. Not enough pressure that I'm skipping over the apex and rolling the apex, but enough pressure that I know that I'm doing something with the strops. Okay, let's spritz this up. And take a look. And you can't much see the difference, although it is pretty smooth and polished. You can see how it's reflecting the light. It's pretty well polished. And here is, that's the tip. That little blunt thing is the tip. And it's sharp. And again, I can feel an improvement in the smoothness in the stropping stroke. So I'm going to try to pause this real quick and see if I can test this right here where we can see it. Okay, I'm going to unclamp this knife and we're going to test it real quick. I've set up the best with filament. I'm going to just hold the knife. I tared it at 0. Let me get this crosswise where I can work on it. Tared to 0, and I'm going to go straight down on it, and I push. And pushed through it. 150. Now, for any of you who have worked with a BESS tester, you are aware that a 150 is a respectable score and a respectably sharp knife. For a practice knife, from wicked edge, whatever kind of steel it is, that we sharpened 100, 200, 400, 600, and then did a two parts drop. The only thing that we did, that I did different than a new user, is that I got over falling off the bicycle. Now I know how to balance and ride it. That's all you need to do, is get the knack of it. Just once you get the knack of it, then you just work within the confines of the bench vise, the wicked edge, and use it as precisely as you want to. The stones I showed you were close enough that you can use them sequentially, flip-flop and grit to grit to grit. Just set your angle on the first one, draw your burr on the first one, and then go alternating edge leading strokes from each sequential grit as far as you want to go. The same clamping position. Nothing to it after you set your bevel the first time. How you choose to refine it, your stroke direction, that's up to you. Play with edge trailing. Instead of doing edge leading, do your edge leading first to obliterate your burr. Then come back at it, same angle, same stone, same grit, with edge trailing. And do your edge trailing alternating side until you feel that really sharp ragged edge. Then go to your next stone. And do it again, and do it again, and see what that takes you. Sequential edge trailing as compared to edge leading, and test it. I'm sure that you'll find that the edges test sharper, but I don't know how long it can sustain that edge with that edge trailing bias applied to your apex as a final product. I prefer the edge leading apex. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. I think I proved the point. We'll do it one more test. We're going to come here now and test closer to the tip. Let me stand over this. 150. And this is, so you know, this is the PT50C. It reads in 25-gram increments. It makes it easy to gauge a knife, to compare it. 125, 150, 175, instead of having the exact number, then it doesn't let you see trends. This is easier for seeing trends, to see where your knife fits in a category of sharpness by 25 increments instead of by single gram increments. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, I'm glad to have you.